Good morning, America. Today I'm beginning my series on World War II. Now, World War II is an incredibly complicated topic. Because this is a U.S. history class, though, I'm going to be focusing primarily, as much as I can, on United States involvement in World War II. That means basically skipping over the first few years of World War II, because, as always, the United States was fashionably late to the party. However, I'm going to give you a brief overview of what happened before the United States got involved, which is necessary in order to understand why the United States got involved. Alright, so, World War II run up. What went on before the United States got involved? Oh, by the way, super quick primer, World War II, Allies, good guys, Axis, bad guys. Allies, good guys, France until they get conquered, the United Kingdom, China, the Soviet Union, a few other British Commonwealth countries, that's about it. Bad guys, Nazi Germany, Imperial Japan, Fascist Italy, and their satellites and puppets. Alright. The war started in Asia in 1937. Some people say that World War II started in Europe in 1939. I disagree. It started in Asia in 1937 when Japan attacked China for a really dumb reason that doesn't matter right now. Japan and China had been fighting each other tooth and nail since 1937, and Japan had taken all the most important parts of China but couldn't make any headway on actually finishing China off. Now, in order to fuel the war machine, Japan needed oil. They were buying their oil from the United States, which was the world's largest producer of oil far and away at the time. However, eventually the United States started to think that maybe selling oil to a bloodthirsty monster like Imperial Japan in 1940 and 41 wasn't such a good idea. So the United States gradually cranks back on the amount of oil that we're selling them until eventually President Roosevelt passes institutes an embargo, and the United States is not really selling any oil to Japan at all anymore. That's by 1941. That's a big problem for Japan because without American oil, they're going to have to find another source of oil, or before long their war machine is going to grind to a halt. So, Japan needs oil. The nearest oil to Japan and that part of the world is in a place called the Dutch East Indies. At that time, it was a colony of the Netherlands. Today, it's the modern-day country of Indonesia. Japan decided they were going to go take that oil for themselves. But to get to the Dutch East Indies from Japan, they were going to have to take other places as well in order to get there. They also needed to take out the British colonies in Singapore and Malaya. Oh, and they need to take the United States colony of the Philippines. Now, because the Philippines is the United States colony and the Philippines are in between Japan and the Dutch East Indies, that meant that the United States was going to get dragged into the war anyway. So, since Japan knew that the United States was going to get involved in the war, because Japan was going to attack us, Japan decided to try to knock us out first with what they call a preemptive strike. And this preemptive strike was called Pearl Harbor, which I'll get to in a minute. That's what was going on in Asia. Over in Europe, Nazi Germany kicked things off in 1939 by conquering Poland. The following year, Nazi Germany followed that up by conquering the rest of Europe, France, Denmark, those types of places. Then, the year after that, in 1941, Germany invaded the Soviet Union. That was surprising because Germany and the Soviet Union had pretended to be friends up to that point. But, well, if your national security depends on Hitler keeping his promises, that's not such a good plan, as the Soviet Union found out the hard way when Hitler breaks his treaty with the Soviet Union, backstabs Stalin, and unexpectedly invades the Soviet Union in the summer of 1941. Also, German and Italian forces are fighting against the British in North Africa in pursuit of Italy's dream of reestablishing the Roman Empire. So that's what's going on before the United States enters the war. Of course, our world leaders for the Allies, for the Axis, we have Adolf Hitler, the Fuhrer of Nazi Germany. In Japan, we have the Emperor Hirohito, but he is not involved in the day-to-day running of the government. He is claims to be the son of God, or a son of the gods, and so since he's divine, he doesn't dirty his hands with day-to-day government. So the actual government is run by the prime minister. There's a couple of them. Actually, Japan runs through a number of different prime ministers, but Konoe is one, and the others are hard to pronounce. So we'll leave it at that. Italy is ruled by the fascist dictator Benito Mussolini, and the other Axis puppets are ruled by the various people that the big Axis countries installed. Over on the Allied side, of course, for Great Britain, the king is King George V, and the prime minister for almost all of World War II is famously Winston Churchill. For the Soviet Union, we have the world's most brutal and bloodthirsty dictator, Joseph Stalin. And in the United States, we have, until almost the end of the war, we have President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who has already been president for a very long time, had already done the New Deal and all that good jazz. Well, he's still president for most of World War II as well. All right. Next time, in the next video, I'm going to talk about Pearl Harbor and outline World War II, what happened once the United States got involved.